Hey there, Mr. Witherow. All right, today we're going to talk about exponential growth. Exponential growth occurs when a quantity increases by the same rate over time. All right, so exponential growth, something that's going to grow really fast, really quickly. All right, there's a formula for this, and the formula is y is equal to a times the quantity of 1 plus the rate, or r, and then raised to the t. It sounds kind of crazy, so we better figure out what the a and the r and the t stands for. The a stands for the original amount, all right? So the original amount, or the initial amount. So that's where the a comes from. The r stands for the rate, right? And we have to write this as a decimal. And we'll get to that in a second. And then the t, you guessed it, stands for time. All right, so the A is the original amount. So it's the dollars, it's the lives, it's whatever they're going to tell you. Most of the time it's dollars and stuff like that. And we're talking about investments and stuff. So the rate is going to be a percent. And then the time is going to be in years or days or whatever. You can know that time. So the rate as a decimal is where we're going to have to get help in, all right? You have to know a couple things about that. So if they give us like 3%, right? 3%, remember that to write it as a decimal, we have to move the decimal to the left twice. So 3% is really like 3.0. So then to write it as a decimal, you move it this way, right? And now you got the decimal over here, so you got to fill in the 0, put the 0 here. So 3% as a decimal is 0.03. And we do this anyway, all the time. Most of the time they're going to give us a whole number here. Sometimes they're going to give us like 2.5%. So 2.5%, remember, then we're just going to simply take this decimal and move it over 2. So now the decimal's here. Fill in the 0. So there's your decimal, 0.025. That's your rate. That's how you find a change from a decimal, or excuse me, a percent to a decimal. You have to move it to the left, all right? You're gonna move it to the left, 2 spots, multiply by 100 basically. All right, so how do we do this? Please don't get too nervous. I always will give you the formula, right? So here's our problem. So if we have here, if this is the problem, right? It says that it increases, like we said, all right? So since it increases, let's go ahead and identify some of this stuff. So the A, remember that the A is the initial amount, right? Initial amount, or the original amount. That's what we're looking for. The R is the rate, and that's a decimal. We got to remember it has to be a decimal. And then the time. That's what we're looking for. All right, so we come down here and we read the example here. The original value of an investment original value is $1,400. And the value increases, so we know that this is exponential growth, by 9%. Write an exponential growth function to model this situation, and then we're going to find the value after 25 years. How about that? So they tell us the original amount, so this is the A, increases by 9%. This is R, but we need to write it as a decimal. And then here's your T and time. So let's take a look at this. So 9%, right? 9%, we got to move that decimal over 2 spots. So this is really 0.09, right? I always put the 0 in the 1, so just bear with me. All right, so let's set up this formula. Let's use the formula. Let's plug some numbers in here. So the y equals stay, because that's what we're finding. The A is the initial amount, which is 1,400. And then we put in the 1 plus, this is the rate, 0.09. And then, so this is, and then we put the 25 here. This is the time. So this is the t. So then we get a calculator out and we go. Now, I would probably simplify this. 1 plus 0.009 is just y is equal to 1400 times 1.09 raised to the 25th power. And then you punch it into your calculator, and whatever the calculator says, that's what it is, right? So make sure that you are going to do the 1.09 raised to the 25th first before you do anything. You cannot multiply until you take care of the exponent first. So we get our calculator out, and we turn it on, and we say parentheses 1.09, and then we use the little caret. This is the little caret, and raise it to the 25th power, and we hit enter, and it gives us this, and then we multiply it by 1400, and we come find out that it's worth $12,072.31, it looks like. And don't forget your dollar sign. So then that's what your answer would be. All right, so exponential growth has a formula, and you just got to plug them in. All right, cool.